Hello there, this is Cheryl Lentz, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, talking on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I have lots of things to show you. I have some cards that I made up with the samples that I did of watercolor last week. So I think I have 4 cards all set and ready to show you. I had so much fun just playing with those. I call that my job, because I got to just sit and play. It's like, that's all I have. I'm going to just play with that. And then I started playing with the Rings of Love designer paper, which is one of the free options from Celebration. I'm looking for my words here, which coordinates with the Ringed with Nature bundle that's in the holiday catalog. Let's see here. Let me look real quick. Which is on page 62 and 63. There's some of the samples. So I wanted to go over that with you too. So I have a lot to show you. I've been playing with this and it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit addictive. Maybe that's what my stamping thing is. So thank you for joining me. If you're joining me now, you're joining me later, it's okay. Let me know that you joined me. Share my video if you like the video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not yet. I'm trying to, keep that growing. So I'm working hard at that. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Let's get started. I'm going to do a card first, and we're going to play with blends and kind of color it to look like the DSP and with markers. So a couple little tips with that. So let's get started. Hello, Kay. I'm going to turn the camera around. Once I turn the camera, I can't see who's on. So y'all just leave me a message, whether you're a demonstrator, fellow demonstrator, or you're a stamping enthusiast, you're just here to have fun. I'm going to make this big because I want you to see, whoops. So I'm going to cut out all my information probably, but I want you to see the rings and stuff on here. This is such a fun, such a fun bundle. So here's the bundle, Ringed with Nature, and the bundle comes with the dies, and it's one of those that come with dies and an embossing folder that match. So really fun to play with. I'm going to show a little bit more about the wood grain and the wood things after I stamp the card, but I just want you to see where I'm coming from or what I've been playing with. So excited. Having lots of fun. This is the card that we're going to do today. So a Get Well card. This is a piece of the paper from the Ringed with Love, the Celebration that you can get free. So if you buy the bundle, the Ringed with Nature bundle, is that what they call it? Ringed with Nature bundle, it's $53. So you could get the DSP for free. So to go with it. So love this DSP. It matches some of the items. Let's see here. I'm going to pull this over here. So the fun thing about the dies here, I picked the one thing to make that doesn't have 2 of them, but they have some matching dies. This one has 3 leaves, which matches up with this here. It's kind of similar to that paper. And then all these rings for the center of the tree rings, the tree slabs cuts. And then these little things that are like the center of the logs, and it cuts out. So I'll show you that later, but this is what I'm playing with. So I went ahead and cut my little pieces out, which is this little piece right here. So I cut that out ahead of time. One other thing I want to show you, so you can make little, this is to make little mushrooms that match here, right? So you can cut out the stems, and here's the top of the mushroom, like that. But you can also take the top of the mushroom, put this other top on, and you can make it into an acorn. Yay! Dual features. That's so much fun. All right, let's get started here. So I have my card. I have everything cut and ready to go right here. I did go ahead and, now I know this comes with the ring, the tree ring, whoops, embossing folder, but for this one I wanted it to look woodsy and kind of I think this would go good with the gnomes too, but anyhow, I wanted to look woodsy, so I used the Fern 3D embossing folder, which is in the annual catalog. So you can see how deep that is. Isn't that cool? I love it. So I thought it looked sort of woodsy. I wanted that to make an interesting background. It adds so much to add an embossing folder, some type of background. I try to, like, this is a smaller pattern, and I know this is a little bit bigger, but it just looks woodsy and kind of fun to me. So let's get our pieces put together here. I'm just going to go ahead so that I don't do anything to this. I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. So here's the rings on the back. I showed you last week how the ring paper here, this fits right over that, and you can cut out rings right from the DSP. But for today, we're using the other side. Let's see here if I have glue that works for me today. So I'm just going to get the extra pieces glued together, a little bit of glue here. The base of the card is Evening Evergreen. And then the accent piece, because I wanted it bright and something to make you smile, I used the Parakeet Party. That's what this bright, nice color is. So that goes with the paper too. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to glue this right on my base. I cut my base. I didn't cut it. I had this piece in there. So, but it's kind of fun to do a card a little bit different. So this is cut 11 by 4 1/4 and scored at 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on my, and remember when you're using these, especially these 3D embossing, the embossed image is so deep, but remember you can use the embossed side, you know, so it's up, or you can use the deboss side. So you get a little bit different look with that. So remember, it's like, that's something else to keep in mind. So I'm going to glue this one on here. And I put a little extra glue only because this isn't going on a flat surface, because we have a lot of texture in that folder. So just like that. There we go. Okay. Ta-da, ta-da. All right, here's all my little pieces. So I went around a couple of times on what to put the verse on. And I ended up, I kind of fussy cut it, and I did different things. And then I went into saying, you know what, I'm going to have it go on an oval. The oval sort of goes with the shape of the mushroom anyhow. So I was like, okay, we're going to go oval. The colors I'm using for my ink is Poppy Parade and Soft Suede. So on the verse I wanted it bright and cheery and happy. So I used the Poppy Parade. So I'm going to turn, let's see here. I'm going to use the back of this here just so I can see where I'm stamping it, so we're not looking at white on white here. Here's my verse. So it's Get Well Soon, which sometimes I think, oh, you know, should I have just done Thinking of You? But, you know, some people are going to get well soon. And it's just kind of know who you're sending it to, right? There we go. So I did that. I'm just going to set that to the side for a moment. I can turn this back over. All right. Now I'm going to stamp my mushrooms on here. So is it the chicken or the egg, which comes first? I wasn't sure as far as stamping on here which one I should stamp first. I decided that I would stamp the top of the mushrooms first, because then I knew how far I could go up. And if the bottom of the mushroom, you know, went off the end, that was okay. So it really wouldn't matter so much on that side, but I didn't want the top of the mushroom cut off. So that's what I did. So I'm just stamping it towards the top of my circle here. Ta-da. And then I went with my soft suede for the stems. So those 3 stamp all together. They look like gumdrops too, I think. I think it could be a gumdrop. So on a Christmas one, you could probably use this as a gumdrop too. And then I'm just lining up my little stems so they just barely touch the Poppy Parade. Or a little off on that one, but that's okay. There we go. So now I have those done. I'm just going to move this off to the side because I always end up wearing color. Oh, see, I did it just now. I like to wear the colors. Okay, so on this one, I also wanted to use this leaf but I wanted it to kind of mimic the leaves here. So the leaves on the designer paper have both Evening Evergreen and the Parakeet Party. So they're kind of two-toned. So this is how I did that. So on this part, I took my markers. Remember, you don't ever use your blends directly on here because they're alcohol markers and they will dry quickly. So if you want to do two-tone coloring, you want to use your markers. So I have the marker here, and I'm going to go, usually I go lighter first, or the lighter first and then go with the darker. But in this case, I want to blend the dark a little bit. So I took my marker and I'm just kind of using it off to the side, and I'm going right up the center here on these leaves. And then just kind of adding a little bit of color. I'm just on the leaf, just barely touching it. And I'll show you, get really close. See that? I just put a little bit of color on those leaves. Hello, Barb. And then I went with my Parakeet Party, and I'm going to go over the leaves, and I'm going to kind of pull some of that green in. So I just want a little bit there. I want to soften it up. So I'm going over that Evening Evergreen with this lighter marker, but when I'm done, I'm going to do this. And then you can see that some of that green evergreen is on there, but by the time I twirl it, don't point it down. By the time I twirl it down, I have a fancy little ribbon, and I have all that evergreen off. Then I'm going to huff it, put a little moisture on it, because especially now that I'm talking and doing it, and ta-da! So it sort of is similar to the leaves on here, where you have both of the colors on. So I'm going to do it again because I stamped twice on here. And then I also put it, I filled in a little bit and put it on my, and you know what, any way you do it, a little bit more, a little bit less, you're still going to get those two colors in here. I did put some of the leaves around my my verse also on the front. So there we go. But each time I do the little wiggle so I get that color off of my marker. Okay. And this one's going to go right here. Ta-da. A little bit less, a little bit more. There we go. And then I'm going to add some more here. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. And actually, when I made the card, I put the verse on and I thought, oh, it looks kind of plain like that. And so after I had put it on the card, I went back and I stamped this. I stamped the leaves over it, which it worked out okay because it's popped up on dimensionals, but I don't normally do that. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to huff it, and I'm going to put one right here. Ta-da. And then I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to put one on the top too, just a couple of leaves. Oh, it's storming here, I think. I just heard thunder. Between the thunderstorms and the fireworks, our dog, Malaya, has just been going crazy. It's so hard, which I feel bad. When our kids were little, we were big on fireworks and shooting them off and having parties, and now my dog is so afraid of it. I think, people, stop. But we did the same thing. Okay, so here I'm just going to go on the top and add a little bit more. Ta-da. All right, so that's going to be my verse. I'm just going to glue it right on my little banner. So again, I use the stylish banners, or the stylish shapes, and they have all these nice little banners. And this is our oval punch. It's the small oval, and that fits on there nicely. So you still have that little accent color in there, because I wanted to pull in a little more of that Poppy Parade. That's the color with there. So now comes to this coloring. I'm going to glue this together here. So again, this is stylish shapes again. I love the stylish shapes. In fact, I'm thinking about getting an extra set because we use it so much in class. It has circles, squares, and banners. So very, very nice set. All right, so now let's get a dark piece so you can see what I'm doing. Here, I'm just going to put a piece of paper on here. Now I'm going to use my blends. Okay, because I want it to sort of look like this, and they used both colors. Some of it shows up more than others. You can see how the tips are different. Plus, there's a soft suede. So, I took my dark blend. Well, let's do the soft suede. I'm using dark soft suede just for the stem. So, I just sort of colored it on here. I don't know. Now, here, I put it on here so you could see it, and then I used a dark color, so maybe it's better to look here. There we go. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit there. Where's my other one? Here it is. I'll leave it on here. Come on, pick it up. These have a texture too, so when you cut these out, the leaves have textures to them. This is a really cool die set. Really fun. So there we go. Now, oops, let's do this right here. There we go. Then I went with my evergreen, the evening evergreen. So I'm using the light evening evergreen. And I'm just going along and adding a little bit in here on my leaves. Not all the way up. And I'm using the light color, and I'm doing the dark first. So let's do that. And the cool thing about the blends is that even if you're going over it with a lighter color, you can do that and it won't wreck it. So here is my dark. Let's bring that up here so you can see how I have the dark in there. Now I'm going to go over with my, let's see here, what did I use? I used the light Parakeet Party. Okay. And I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to go right over my evening evergreen, and it'll just blend it up. So here's one. I'm going to bring it up close here so you can see. Ta-da. Okay. So see how dark the evening evergreen is? And then by going over the edge here, it just sort of blends the color in so it looks softer. So you're going to get that two-tone look. Kind of, it gives it a little more depth. And you can go right over the dark, blend it with the light. Ta-da. I love the blends. We use them a lot in class. Just for that reason, because they're so versatile. And you can make it look like you know what you're doing, and even if you don't. I don't. I'm just kind of playing. All right, and then I went with the Poppy Parade. I have dark Poppy Parade, but I think I'm going to go with the light and just see how that. So I have a light Poppy Parade just for my little berries here. I'm going to lighten it up from what I did on the original one. And you just color those in. Ta-da. There. Couple little berries. There. Okay. So here's the DSP. And here's my version. I'll put it right next to it. And you can see how it does kind of imitate the designer paper. So they show us how to color it. Sort of fun. Okay, now I'm going to just center these in. I played with this for a long time, trying to decide where this should go. If I should have 2 down, 1 up, if I should add a bow, whatever. Well, I decided to kind of point them towards this one is pointed towards the corner, filling in that space there. This one just kind of off to the side because I wanted to add some of the opal rounds, the 2023 opal rounds, 22, 23 opal rounds. So, and this can go in. So if you want to put this in first so you know, I put my dimensionals, and I use the black dimensionals since I'm using a dark, the evening evergreen. I just put them towards the inside. You know, I always use a lot more than what some people use. But I just put it towards the inside so I can slide those little leaves in there. So here we go. Oops. Just taking off the backing here. All right, get it going the right way. And this is sort of centered. I'm trying to keep away about the same on either side here. So my borders are kind of the same. Matchy-matchy, I know. There we go. And then I'm gonna sneak these underneath. So you don't have to put a lot of glue on. I put it kind of down the stem a little bit and then just touch the leaves just barely. Come on, glue. There we go. Okay, touch my stem. And then I can just kind of put it in where I want it. Ta-da. All right. So you can see the difference. Here I use the dark poppy, here I use the lighter poppy, but I think it matches up a little bit more. You could do either, or you could touch it with a little bit of dark on here too, just to give it more accent, a little bit more color here. So here is this. We'll have this one in class, Barb. If you're coming to class, I have to cut for it yet, but I thought it would be sort of fun. So on this one, I just kind of, whoopsie daisy, put off like that. There. Okay. Ta-da, ta-da. All right, and then I use dimensionals again for my verse. I'm just gonna go right down the center here. There we go. And again, I take so much time like deciding what do I want to do. This one has a little border and I just kind of centered it on that piece because this is 2 inches. So there we go. And then our opal rounds for these colors. Here's my, let's get this out of here. Here's my opal rounds. Where's my pickup tool? Right in front of my face, I'm sure. Right here, yeah. Okay. So here we go. Put one here. Put one here. I just, when you pick up the card, I like when you have that little bitty kind of sparkle, little bit of shine coming up. And I put one over here. There we go. These are lovely. They come in, you can see all the colors, Evening Evergreen, Fresh Freesia, Pale Papaya, and Soft Succulent. What did I miss? Polished, no, Polished Pink. Yep, that's what it is. Okay, so there we go. I have the front of the card done. The inside, I just decided to stamp the mushrooms again. So I did the mushrooms and the little leaves so it would match the front. Oh, let's put it on here so you can see. Well, here. Where's my black piece? Here it is. There we go. Okay. So this time I started with because I wanted it way down at the bottom here. So I started out on this particular one with the stem first. There we go. And my little Poppy Parade toppers. There we go. Ta-da. And I did put the leaves on there again too. So again, the leaves, when you're coloring directly onto your stamps, you want to use markers, not blends. I'm kind of doing the same thing, but our markers are water soluble like our regular ink pads are, and the blends are alcohol. That's why they dry quickly and they blend so nicely. So here we go. I put one in here. I did not put another verse in here because I thought you can get personal with it and write something like, I'll bring a meal over. How you doing? Something like that. Okay, here we go. we had lots of that. So I had everybody coming and taking care of me for 2 weeks after my surgery. So it was, yeah, kind of funny. All right, there we go. It was fun. It was really nice. I was lucky. Okay, so all done with that. We're gonna put it on our layer of parakeet party. Woo! A little glue. There. Ta-da, ta-da. Put it inside. I don't know why I move around this base so much. Sorry about that. It's probably like, hold still, hold still. Okay, I'm just gonna add this inside. And ta-da, we have our card done. Snappy doodle. There you go. That's what this, I'm gonna close up the ink pads here. Ringed with Nature. So cute. So the cool thing about this whole set is there's so many different options. So there's Thinking of You, Get Well Soon. So I could have had that inside and the Thinking of You on the outside, whatever. Just for You, Happy Anniversary, Merry Christmas, Love and Warmth. And so you have Christmas, you have fall. You can make these into acorns here. There's also little flowers. I haven't used that. And then the house and the ring set. So using the paper that I showed last week, the ringed, it is called Rings of Love. This Rings of Love that has the houses. This is the celebration paper. The first card I made with this set and that paper was this one here. I made an anniversary card. Ta-da. So I just thought how perfect, the two birds together. That worked out nice. I used the blends to color in one of these. I only used one. So this one is the one that I used, the die cut. And the Stylish Shapes. No, actually I used the regular dies, circle dies. And then put that inside. A little bit of DSP inside. I thought these looked like they were carved wooden hearts with the little lines in them here. So that's one of the pieces in here. So lots of fun. I thought that was kind of cool. And then I'm working on another one, and I don't have it together yet, but this is the rough layout. It's not glued together yet. Is this one here. So again, I was thinking of an anniversary one because I ended up putting the hearts in. I'm pairing up this petal pink with the soft suede and vanilla to give it a soft look. When I use any kind of browns, I always like to, if I'm having ribbon with any glitz and glamour in it, I like to use gold with the browns. And so I pulled that out. If you don't know, so this is in the holiday book, this beautiful gold ribbon. It's satin and then sheer in the center. And then it has the gold in there. So pretty. This is on page 82. It's $8 for 10 yards, approximately 10 yards. So that's the gold that I use. But we also have, I pulled out this one first because I'm using vanilla, and this is like vanilla, but with silver. But see, that is not a go for me. But, so this one is in the annual catalog. It's a metallic edge. It's a cotton ribbon with silver on the edge. Now, one cool thing about this one, well, I suppose you could do it on the other one too. We can try that, is that you can take your blends and go right over the cotton. So again, you'd use the paintbrush tip and just go over on the side, using the side. And then you have beautiful ribbon. Now on this one, because it's thick, I would do both sides in case both sides show. But, ta-da, that looks kind of cool. So it gives you another option, right? You don't have to have just the vanilla. You can have it any color you want. Let's try it on this one too. Here we go. So here is the satin with the gold and the clear center. There we go. This one, because it's thinner, you can just go on one side and it'll absorb through there. But you can color our ribbons. So if you don't have a ribbon exactly the color that you want, you can make it into what you want. I needed Mossy Meadow ribbon, so here's one that I had done with Mossy Meadow for one of our cards we did in class. So much fun. Okay, that's a ribbon thing. I will show this one on Friday because I'll get it put together. But the other thing I wanted to show you is all these rings. So this would take a while. You have to give this to somebody you really love, because I did the embossing first of using this embossing folder. So I cut out the rings, I embossed it. Then this is super deep embossing. And then you take this cutout and it fits right around here. See how you can just kind of nestle it. Hello, Vera. You can nestle it right in there. So it's sort of cool, right? Then, but there's more. So that's what I did for these rings here. I just cut that out. And then I ended up saying, well, I needed a lighter center. So on this one I took vanilla and I marked it up with a little bit of crumb cake, dirtied it up. But here's one that I did with the crumb cake. Make it a little bit lighter. So for this one then, you can, to get the centers to put in here, once you cut these out, you're going to have 5 pieces, separate pieces, right? But you can take these rings here and they fit right inside. If it doesn't fit in correctly, there's little notches and little distinctive pieces like this on the big one here. So there's a notch right here and there's a notch on this side of it, right? This fits right here. And it just fits in there perfectly. So you can cut a center to go in. You can have the bark darker, and then you can have the center of your tree. Then you can use, there's a big one and a small one. These cut out the center of your tree like this. Oops. Cuts out the center, so you have kind of that ring that you have when you have cut wood. So lots of fun. So I did this, but I ended up using this one on here. I cut these out for my light ones. Then I used all these separate pieces for the center. So this is what I was left with. So this would be the bark, right? Now, I'm thinking I can touch this with a little bit of smoky slate, like just dirty it up here and there a little bit, and it would maybe look like birch trees, right? And then I'll put a whiter center in, or probably crumb cake is what I would put in. But then they would look like birch trees. So I kept all these pieces because I like to just keep going with it all. So if these don't fit in perfectly, you're not doing it right. I mean, they will fit in perfectly. You just find all the little notches and the little cutouts, and it'll just nestle right in there for you. Makes it easy to do. So that's a lot of fun. I think that's super cool. Anyhow, and the other thing I thought, this to me looks like a sand dollar. So I think you could do that as a sand dollar too, and have different sizes, which would be sort of fun for you Florida people. Miss Susie, I think that would be cool. I wasn't sure how to layer. I'm going to take this thing apart because I haven't done it yet. I wasn't sure how to get all these pieces on, but I thought they have to fit on here. So when I did it, I took the bottom piece, which is the layer here. So it's 5 1/4 by 4. And I ran it through the embossing folder so that it would tell me exactly how to line up all these pieces so I can get them all in here. I felt like a goofball. I couldn't figure out how everything fit. So now I just overlaid it on here so I knew exactly how it was fit. It will overlap because the embossing folder is larger than this piece, But what I thought I would do is just kind of overlap them a little bit. I dirtied them up, the centers, with crumb cake. And then I did, because I wanted it to accent, I took the soft suede dauber and went around the edges. So, ta-da, that's kind of cool. So I'll get this one done and show you on Friday. Now, for the watercolor ones that I did last week, I did a number of 4 different things. So here it is. So here's my watercolor. And I used the diorama dies just because I thought it would be fun. I wish I would have textured the background with something, but I didn't want to take too much away. And I didn't want to stamp on it because I didn't want it too busy. But anyhow, this is the one where I used the watercolor pencils. And then I put a little bit of, drop some water on there. So you got that kind of spilled look. And the butterfly dies are so fun. So here's this one. Ta-da. Bold. Here's my flower. So we did soft or Sahara sand, stamped the flower in Sahara sand on watercolor paper. I used my water painters and painted that in. I thought this was kind of a cool background. I put it on, initially I put it on I put it on green, on an old olive background, but because I painted these little flowers blue and I wanted it to be more uplifting and bright, I added that blue. So here's the blue, and then that's what brought the blue into the base of the card. And then I had done the little flowers. Again, I did a get well. I must be thinking about get well stuff. But and these are little cutouts. I did pop this one up. I think these could also look like water lilies. You could do something different with water too, but isn't that one as pretty, I thought. Then here's the one where I just went across with my colors, and I added in a balmy blue, Pacific Point, and some, I believe I used, I don't know, Highland Heather, I think is what I used. Let me see here. Highland Heather, yeah. So I just went across. I used the frame dies. Let's see, they're called, where did I use watercolor? This is my cheat sheet. Ink blends, the new frame dies, and cut that out. I did fussy cut my little dove here. Here's where I used because I used blue, I wanted silver. I used iridescent pearls. Whoops, and I just stamped that on. I used that background again, the fern background. I guess that's one of my favorites. And then, there we go. So that's that one. And then here's this little one. This came from that frame die set too. And cut that out. There we go. I used the matte colors. These were called, what are they called here? Markers, Old Olive. Classic Matte Dots, because they came in vanilla. When I use watercolor paper, I often use vanilla. This is vanilla paper. This is the watercolor paper. But against white, the watercolor paper looks more vanilla than white. So here's sending hugs. And then on this little stamp, I used markers to color directly onto the stamp. And for the little light flowers there. So there we go. We have lots of cards to show you today. This one, and on Friday I'll get the other one done. But ta-da! I've been playing a lot. So what I'm trying to get ready for is I'm taking one suite at a time and making at least 3 or 4 cards out of the suite. This one makes it easy because there's so many different ones. So I can also do, for this Ringed with Nature, I want to do a Christmas one. I think that will be cool too. So I'm getting ready for my open house, which is Saturday, July 16th, 9 to 1. Let me know if you're interested in coming. And what we do is I kind of lay out a bunch of samples and things. I ask that you don't take pictures there because most of them, we will be doing the cards in class. But ta-da! There we go. That's what I'm working on. Let me turn this around. Here we go. Ta-da. Hello, Karen. All right. There we go. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on getting ready for my open house, so I just keep bringing in more of the suites. I lay out everything that's offered in that suite, and then I play. I tend to get carried away, and that's why I limit myself to like 3 to 4 and then move on, because it's so easy just to keep going. So thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow I will be winging it on Wednesday. Not sure what set. Maybe Design a Daydream monkey cut kit. And yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. Design a Daydream monkey cut kit. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.